I'm going to share some things with you that are flowing for me kind of intuitively right now. Right. I'm sharing this without needing to be correct, but also making sure that I'm staying in my power here. And part of my power is like I have a power of pattern recognition. That sometimes it's intuition, sometimes it's a download, and sometimes it's just like, oh, could it be this? And I want to make sure, like, for me to be able to stay in the power, I don't want to hold on to something that it may not be. Right? I'm going to. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that does. And I
Okay.
appreciate your pattern recognition. Yeah.
So I'm going to play back some things as I'm hearing it in a little bit. All right. Um, so what I'm hearing here is that, because in my mind, I was like, I was wanting to understand what real abundance was, right? So what I'm doing is unpacking. I'm hearing things at a high level. It's good, great. Let's keep unpacking. Let's keep unpacking so that like the path that, like, one of the paths that's actually available to you. And he brought up real abundance. And the two questions I was going to ask was, what does real abundance mean from you in terms of a definition? And then I was going to ask you to make it real, like make real abundance real. Because I was like, we'll probably be up in like a conception of what it is.
Yeah.
Along the way, you brought up some of what real abundance was for you in a more real context here. And you talked about that there's a previous time when you had the money, you had the portfolio, you had the savings, you were experiencing growth, you had a wider range of choices. Like, you were the one that was making more money than your partner. You were providing for your family. You're like, and however that was split or like handled, like, you knew that you could take care of whatever it is that was like on your plate and that you had decided to address. And then he said, I paid for me and my kids until I burned out. So I actually, when you said that, I wrote that, and I was like, boss, I'm like, we need to come back to this. There's an element here of like abundance here, real abundance to me. Like, there's an element of that feels like it's tied to freedom. Is it like, and the freedom here is like the freedom to be in just the creativity, the freedom to just be again, and it felt. So as you were talking, I'm like, the questions that came to mind here, and I'll pose some of them. Let it wash over you as it may. But the questions that came to mind was, are we talking financial abundance? Is she really looking for a financial abundance? And then the part came is like, or is it financial freedom? Or is it the freedom that comes when she has her like finances in a place where she's like, okay, there's money in the bank, there's more money in the bank, everything's taken care of. Like, I really don't need to worry about anything when it comes to the financial part. And I compare that to, I think there's different levels when it comes to money. Like sometimes it's like financial independence. Like, I want to be independent from my partner or spouse or anyone that I'm dependent on. So financial independence has its own thing. Financial freedom has its own place. Like, I just want to be financially free and free to do anything I want to do to finance. Financial abundance can have its own thing. Being really, really ridiculously rich does not make you financially independent. You can become dependent on the money even. Right. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of money that aren't actually financially independent because it's not, for a number of different reasons. Yeah. So as you're talking, I'm hearing some of this. Right. And so far, like, there's a few more things I'm going to paint out in this picture, but I want you to take some notes, see what's real, see what's not, see what lands, what doesn't.
It's the World Joy Movement. Yeah. What was your greatest insight from this conversation? And if you want to come and be a part of a conversation like this live, it's really simple. Just go to beworldjoy.com and come introduce yourself, and let's take the conversation to the next level, because you're there now. All right, let's play.